we've got some college basketball buy and sell. We are a couple weeks into the college hoop season, so we're going to talk about some players slash teams slash conferences starts to the season. That was a real tongue twister there. And if you should buy or sell it. So let's start things off with the Oregon Ducks, who were a preseason top 25 team. I believe the preseason number 23 team, if I'm not mistaken. They have gone from preseason NCAA tournament shoe-in to a bubble squad. And it is worth noting that they're 4-0, but there have been multiple close, ugly wins against far inferior competition. So, Braden, do you buy or sell that?
I'm going to sell this take. The Ducks obviously have struggled a little bit so far this year. They beat Hawaii in their opener by just 1 point, and then they followed it up with a 4 point win over Rice. Their past two games have been better. They've beaten both South Dakota State and Oregon State, each by double digits. South Dakota State is one of the favorites in the Summit League. I think they were second in the Summit League preseason poll behind our St. Thomas Tommies. Oregon State has been off to a weird start this year. They've had basically every game go down to the wire, other than this loss to Oregon. I don't think they're going to be a particularly great team out of the West Coast Conference. The Ducks still haven't been tested yet. They haven't looked dominant enough. They're currently 56th in KenPom. They're 86th in offensive rating and 26th in defensive rating. Or I guess those are efficiency numbers according to KenPom. Evan Maya, another analytics site for college basketball, has the Ducks slightly better. They're at 39th in the country there. Well, Oregon's been a little bit subpar compared to their expectations so far. Nate Biddle, Jackson Shellstead, and Kwame Evans are an excellent trio. They're going to carry this team pretty far. You know, if you told me I had to choose either one of these two options, with the Ducks missing the tournament or making it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, I'm taking them to make the Sweet 16 with no hesitation.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm selling that as well. The first couple games were rough, but they've responded pretty nicely since then, with a couple of wins, a 14-point win over South Dakota State and then a 12-point win over Oregon State. It's entirely possible that Oregon just isn't as good as we thought, but it's definitely too early to say that they're on the fringe of not making the tournament. They're still 4-0. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna sell that all day. Next up on the buy sell, we have the Georgetown Hoyas, who a school known for its basketball in previous years, but just one NCAA tournament appearance in the last decade. They are finally getting back to relevance. Braden, do you buy or sell that?
I'm going to buy this take. You know, the Patrick Ewing years were the equivalent of Georgetown being in the college basketball wilderness. Last year was the first time Georgetown has had a winning record since the 2018-2019 season, and they won 40% of their Big East games, which is a big improvement compared to winning just 17% of them from the 2019-20 season up through the 2023-24 season. Other than somehow winning the Big East tournament during the COVID year, and then they were thoroughly pummeled by Colorado in the first round. Georgetown hasn't made the tournament since 2014, 2015, like you alluded to. But under Ed Cooley, as questionable as his moral character may allegedly be for a variety of reasons, the Hoyas have started this year 4-0. They've won at Maryland, and they beat Clemson at home. Both of those teams were tournament teams last year. KJ Lewis is awesome. The Arizona transfer has 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists per game this year, averaging 2.5 steals per game as well. Malik Mack is another player off to a great start. 15 points, 4 boards, 3.5 assists for him per game. Georgetown might not make the tournament this year. They're currently 67th in KenPom, 63rd in Evan Maya. They've got a little bit of a ways to go, but even if they don't, the future of this program is certainly trending upwards, and I think there's a real shot that they're maybe not a tournament lock going into next season, but one of those teams that's in the should be in tier going into next year.
Yeah, and I'll buy it as well. They've got a pair of Power Four wins so far against Maryland and Clemson. This is year 3 of the Ed Cooley era. They went from 9-23 in year 1, 18-16 last year, and of course off to a 4-0 start here in 2025. This was a team projected to finish in the back half of the Big East by most people going into the season. And for what it's worth, they still could. We're 4 games in. But there is no denying that this has been a great start to the season for the Hoyas. So I'm with you. I will buy into that. The Mountain West, Braden, a conference that sent 6 teams to the NCAA tournament last year, I believe the year before as well, if I'm not mistaken. They will be a one bid conference this season. Do you buy or sell that?
I'm going to buy this take, actually. The Mountain West has had 4 teams in the tournament 3 of the last 4 years. The other year, they had 6 teams in the tournament. We have to go all the way back to 2016, 2017 for the last time that the Mountain West sent just one team to the NCAA tournament. But this year, I think that changes. San Diego State looks great. Utah State and Colorado State are off to solid starts as well. Both of them are undefeated. They've each beaten Atlantic 10 opponents. But some of the rest of the heavy hitters in this conference have struggled. Boise State with an inexplicable and inexcusable loss to Division II Hawaii Pacific at home to open up their season. Grand Canyon has already lost a couple of games, including a loss at home to Youngstown State. Nevada fell to UC Davis, and New Mexico, they lost a rivalry game to New Mexico State. Utah State doesn't really have a great opportunity to notch a good non-conference win. Maybe they have one against South Florida, but I don't know if USF is a tournament team this year. Colorado State has a better chance in the battle for Atlantis. They've got potential matchups with St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech, and Wichita State. If they can pick up, 2 wins against those teams, or even if they go 1-1 against those teams, maybe there's a good argument for them as an at-large team. But right now, it's basically just those 3 teams, Utah State, Colorado State, and San Diego State, that have hopes as at-large bids in the Mountain West right now. Unless Boise State and or Grand Canyon can right the ship and win some big games out of conference, if the teams at the top lose one too many conference games, the Mountain West could be in trouble, and we could be looking at a one-bid Mountain West for the first time in nearly a decade.
This is the first one I'll disagree with you on. I will say sell, but I certainly can't disagree that it's been a very underwhelming start to the season for the Mountain West. Boise State has looked bad, as you said. San Diego State lost to Troy, and Grand Canyon is 2-2. But I think it's a little too soon to say that's what we're going to get for the whole year from this conference. You still got Utah State, like you said. Colorado State is 4-0. Utah State is as well. And I still think it's too early to rule out San Diego State, the preseason conference favorite, or a team like New Mexico, who's 3-1, and they're just kind of off to a slow shooting start. They're shooting under 30% from three. It may not be more than a 2 or 3 bid conference. I will give you that, but I think it's going to be more than one. But I would at this point be surprised if it's more than that 2 or 3 mark. So we're not far off, but I think it's too early for me to say that it's just going to be a 1 bid conference. And then the last buy sell, we have Duke freshman Cam Boozer, son of former NBA power forward Carlos Boozer. He is the best player in the country. He's currently averaging 21.6 points per game, 10.4 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists per game, as well as 1.4 steals and 1.4 blocks per game. So, Braden, do you buy or sell that he is the best player in the country?
I'm going to sell this one, but it's a take that might age pretty poorly down the line. He's been awesome this year. He's the only player in the country with averages of at least 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists per game so far. He had a 35-12, 5-3-3 game against Indiana State, had a 25-8-5 game against Western Carolina. But against actual competition, he struggled a little bit to score the ball. Against Texas and Kansas combined, which are the 2 hard games Duke has played so far, he shot just 10 for 29. He's 1 of 8 from three-point range and 12 for 17 at the free throw line. Now, I'm sure that Boozer's going to boost his efficiency numbers a little bit more. Duke's got Arkansas, Florida, Michigan State, and Texas Tech before jumping into ACC play for him to get things going. But for right now, I can't crown him as the top player in the country. You look at some other guys around the nation. JT Toppin for Texas Tech is probably my pick for the best player in the country so far early in the year. He's averaging 24 points, 12 boards, 3 assists. He had 35 points, 11 boards, and 6 stocks on the road against Illinois. Now, even though Texas Tech lost that game, and Toppin did have 6 turnovers, overall a very impressive performance out of him. Purdue has both Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn playing phenomenal right now. Even if Smith isn't shooting the ball the greatest, he's only at 40% from the floor, but he's still at 40% from three-point range. Throw in some other great players, a couple of freshmen in Koa Pete at Arizona, who put up 30 in his debut in a win over Florida. Caleb Wilson at North Carolina has been phenomenal. And then a couple of other experienced guys like Thomas Houck at Florida, Bruce Thornton at Ohio State, PJ Haggerty at Kansas State and Darian Williams at North Carolina State. I can't put Boozer at the top of the country right now. He's probably borderline first team All American after 4 games.
Yeah, I will say he is at the moment. I intentionally waited until after the Kansas game last night to decide. But yeah, this guy's legit. I mean, he went for 18, 10, and 5 last night against a top 25 team, albeit without Darren Peterson. But he's doing it all. And like he's just overpowering guys at 6'9", 250, which is actually quite literally LeBron's exact height and weight. Not that I'm comparing the two in any way at the moment, but just for a visual on the size of him, I highly doubt he's going to continue his 20-point double-double pace up through ACC play. But so far, in my opinion, he has been the best player in college basketball. So I will buy that